All right. So now we are in a beautiful shipping container location with Jin, who is kind of the guru of not any one metaverse, but metaverse interoperability, how avatars will work across the metaverse, how games will work across the metaverse, how experiences and building will work across the metaverse. And yeah, it's someone I've admired for many, many months. So thank you for joining us at the Virtual Beings and Virtual Society Summit, Jen.
Thanks for having me. Excited to show you around.
Well, let's go downstairs. I think I noticed some half-eaten Fritos down on the
we got
table.
some snacks.
Very good. That's very good. Some cigarettes. It's a nice blast from the past. Dunkin' Donuts. Oh my god. I feel like I'm back to my most comfortable place. And a Cryptovoxels video game. That's super cool. A kind of arcade machine. Do you actually purchase any of these snacks in here?
This vending machine actually is offerable in a different platform that this world that we're in is.
Very cool. Like it allows you to go to OpenSea and maybe buy things there. There's the Ready Player One trailers. Am I right?
Yep. As you can see, when you step out, this hacker space is kind of all inside of a shipping container, and it's designed that way because you can really easily port it anywhere. It's and wouldn't it be cool if they were just easy to customize for you and your friends to camp out in different virtual worlds together, stack them, and arrange them as such?
I hadn't thought of that as like a kind of an example that actually is quite functional for the metaverse, that you have a trailer that can exist in Cryptovoxels and Decentraland and all of that. Where is this Cryptovoxels? It is, right?
The screenshot you're looking at right there is the same place ported into Cryptovoxels.
That's so interesting.
And next to it's the same world inside of VR chat within a Cryptovoxels world and VR chat.
Interesting. A Cryptovoxels like themed world.
Yeah, I took a snapshot about 2 years ago, and it's basically like traveling to a time capsule of how it looked 2 years ago.
Oh, it's an actual snapshot of it, so it's like a way back machine.
Yeah,
cool. And it was like way more primitive, I'm gonna imagine.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't import all the images, but in general, it is kind of interesting to just compare like how much has been built over the years.
Well, let me look at these two Jins. You guys look pretty similar, although you're wearing a lab coat here and quite a hip sports jacket there. But otherwise, I guess you evolved too. Is this sword the same sword? Have you been loyal to that sword, or?
Yeah, it's a lot of my NFTs are gifts from friends, and the katanas are from a friend that I bring everywhere as well.
Very cool. All right, well, let's look at this guy. Which world is this?
This is made in Janus Web. It's a web framework for making social VR sites using just kind of like markup. It's kind of like next gen VRML. And in here, I've got kind of an example of game within a game. So imagine a web space where you can invite your friends over and play, browse the web on a big screen. And so in here, it's showing a couple of avatars playing Cryptovoxels, and that's where the OpenSea vending machine is too.
Oh my god, you've gone full on meta. That's pretty cool. I like that. All right, what about this guy? This does not. Oh no, there is the shipping container. There it is. It's sort of like I'm waiting now for the shipping container in front of the Taj Mahal and all the rest. But it's almost like a time machine. I don't know how I would describe it. It's a bit like Doctor Who's phone box, but it can go anywhere. It can travel through space and time. This shipping container.
Yeah, Actually, the way that it works in here is it kind of acts as like a 3D hyperlink. So you
Right, that's the way of putting it. That's a really interesting. I've never ever heard of anything like that. I've never heard that metaphor or that. That's really interesting, Jen.
Yep. The way that whole the platform is built, it's kind of like a website, you know, in the sense that you scroll up and down, but forwards and backwards in here, just down the street. So it's kind of showing an example where that shipping container can port into any of the other ones that you saw before, because they are all, except for VRChat. VRChat does have a way you can open specific worlds with the link, but it's not as easy friction as a browser-based platform.
And we've got the metaverse over here. Matthew Ball would be very proud to see that. And yeah, we've got it. Oh, this is what is this called? Is this like the Silk Road or something?
Indeed, you know,
Silk Road of metaverse.
Yeah, you know, I'd like to draw an analogy to the ancient Silk Road to how we can actually build the metaverse, because you know it was like the first global. It connected the ancient world together through trade, and Chinese silk reminds me a lot of like crypto art in a sense that they didn't really have much utility beyond like flexing at the time, and I you know kind of see a pattern where things like art and wearables are, you know, there's incentives for artists to bring them across all these different virtual worlds, and it's spearheading interoperability that way.
What's this one? What's this guy? This little.
Which one? This?
Down.
Oh, this. Down. This is a crypto avatar's icon. So.
Yeah. And what's that one on the right?
This one is
I know Metafactory. I know.
Oh, this is Webaverse.
Webaverse, yes, of course. And then that's Cryptovoxels. What's this one?
That's Decentraland.
No, this one. This Janus based. I guess is that Janus?
Yeah, Janus. Janus XR.
And what's Hubs? I don't know.
That's what we're in right now.
Oh my god. Okay, so these are like Mozilla Hubs. Okay, and what's this one?
Somnium Space.
That's right.
And then we got Sandbox, Neos VR, and then Fortnite and Roblox.
Very cool. I've never heard of the Silk Road analogy, and I also love the fact that it was just a flex at first, and obviously created so much connection between people.
It did a lot more than just like silk traveled. You know, it was knowledge and culture, and you know, these trade posts became hubs for all sorts of, you know, cross kind of world interactions and whatnot. And I kind of see that happening inside Discords currently, because it's a lot less friction. People just hopping between one Discord to the next and posting like event information or, it just kind of makes all these virtual worlds feel much closer to each other.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about this one.
Let's see. It's probably easier to start from down over here.
Okay.
So something I've been working on is like, how can we bring our avatars between different virtual world platforms? And I've been really inspired and by the progress made with VRM. It's a file format based on GLTF, in which it has so much compatibility between all sorts of programs, like between VTubing and virtual worlds. And what I do is I create demos and capture videos and evangelize open standards and file formats that can glue these things together.
Well, I've seen you talking a little about on one avatars, like people from a bottom-up way creating 3D characters of those 2D avatars, which to VTube with and more. I think that's super interesting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people really like, for example, crypto art is really taken over different social media places and whatnot, because you can just kind of bring it anywhere. You can share it everywhere. And, with avatars, we can't really do that. It's still a lot of places kind of control your access to your avatar. And so I'm always thinking about how to make things less friction and more freedom.
Mm. And is this me bit in different worlds? I'm trying to kind of figure out what I'm seeing here.
Yeah. So like in here it's in VRoid Hub, and then VR Chat, Blender, fighting game. Another one, a VR Chat. This one is Webaverse, as well as surfing on a hoverboard, and then Craftopia. It's kind of like a mishmash game of a lot of genres.
It is surprising, isn't it? Just how difficult that is to do. And I mean, as you say, and a lot of it now at this stage is just inspiring people to try it, to try to get avatars interoperable.
Showing people like what it looks like to have like an interoperable metaverse, and kind of, I think people really connect with the avatar aspect. Like, I didn't really care about this game called Craftopia until I learned that I could bring my avatar into it. It actually has a cool story attached to it. It started out as an open source mod that got so popular that the studio making the game hired the modder to help with official support.
Oh, wow. Super interesting.
So I think like just by kind of showing people the possibility of bringing your identity into these different virtual worlds, it can have the same effect. And so far it has, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I think let's talk for a second. I think about digital fashion, which seems like what some of these are about.
Yeah. And things like what you see over here, I've been kind of thinking about how fashion can make more of a statement than just like how much money you spent on it. These are called POAPs. Stands for Proof of Attendance Protocol, which is kind of like a NFT that just basically says you were at this event, virtual or physical. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if they were like wearables? And, it kind of makes a different type of statement. And over here, I've got a backpack to symbolize bringing my inventory across different worlds. And some POAP says buttons on the outside of it.
I've never heard of a physical POAP, but I love that. I like POAPs for online, but that's super cool.
Yeah. Lately, I've been really just thinking about the fashion aspect, because I think, we have what it takes for, in terms of technical implementations to have interoperability. I think a lot of it now is social and cultural. And I think fashion is a really good angle to promote, alongside. It's kind of like a Trojan horse of open standards, file formats, things that can actually make this stuff work, but also like really make it cool and adoptable in a way.
Well, now we're right back over here with, I think, a sword. A sword.
This kind of is about like, well, if I have a combination of, wearables, some come from, individual creators, some are NFTs, and I like, how does that translate in a different world? Because like when I'm wearing my avatar in VR Chat, there's no way to kind of see like, oh, who made this jacket, or where's that sword come from? Everything is baked down into a 3D model like everything else. So it's kind of illustrating this problem of interoperability. Like, how do we verify, the provenance of these items? And that's something that Webaverse is working on, where you can inspect things and see like
interesting
who made it, what file type it is, who owns it, stuff like that.
So like, as if you had AR glasses, but in the virtual world, you would kind of be able to scan and see
Precisely.
like what these things came from. That's super interesting.
Yep. Even if they came from a different virtual world.
Very cool. Well, let me sort of close with just asking you where you sort of see things in the next 2 to 3 years. Do you see the different metaverses just plowing ahead and maybe paying lip service to interoperability, or do you see the metaverses like making it easier for people to bring identity across worlds because that's what users want? Like, 2 years from now, where do you think we are with interoperability?
I think it's definitely going to be much more like some of the standards and file formats that enable interoperability to happen are getting adopted by a lot of platforms currently. And once people get a taste of like bringing their avatar into a different platform, it is a red pill that you can't really wash away. And so it's going to become more and more like in demand of a future. And so I'm really optimistic. And I also think that in 2-3 years' time, web platforms are going to sneak up on everybody and get really good fast. Advances in web GPU, WebAssembly, and WebXR are going to make, the web a next gen kind of gaming distribution platform that nobody really saw coming. But except for really just the people who have been, there's like a unsung collective of amazing developers that have been long web, and I think it's going to be the open front end to like, these decentralized backends that things like Ethereum and whatnot are providing.
It's super interesting. And yeah, the web, I mean, a lot of the metaverse worlds that I go into now are through the web, which I would not have expected. And it's just so much easier and like less frustrating. Well, super cool, Jin. Thank you so much for inviting us to the kind of the shipping container and into your holodeck world. This is kind of where you experiment. So you actually use this location to experiment yourself, I think, right?
Yeah, I do. I bring this to as many places as I can, and this is kind of the place I talk to people because I can just easily literally brainstorm in here.
Yeah, and I mean, this is super cool. Just as like very quick style transfer, like it is possible. It is possible that you could have one avatar that could be automatically style transferred over. I mean, across many different styles. The AI isn't necessarily there yet, but that is something that a lot of people, Pixar and other folks are exploring. That you could take one image and style transfer it over, not just to the kind of Disney Snap filter, but to like many different avatars, each of which could then be appropriate, I guess, to the world.
That's cool. It actually reminds me of like my current avatar that I sport on Twitter. And if you can imagine, like, what would a text interface for the metaverse be? It's like describing just the traits, and then I could imagine, like how it'd spawn in different universes.
I remember having a chat with like the async art folks and trying to think through how the hell interoperability would work, and it's similar to this in that it's like, what you can't do more than just have a set of text that then the game interprets in some way. And like that, this is very, very, I feel like I should be taking a screenshot of this. Like that's a really, inspiring thing for developers around like, right now, this may be the best way to do interoperability, and Loot might have shown that, as opposed to what a lot of people I think are doing. The best, the kind of bleeding edge realistically is most people like rebuilding it in each world, rebuilding the avatar in each world, or the fashion in each world. Like I think people maybe who are looking at it aren't aware that like that's where we're at. And what I'm talking about, like AI interoperability and style transfer, is years away realistically. So this might be the right path forward, Jen. I think this is super exciting and super. I've never seen it put so well. You put this up on Twitter? This is really cool. Inspiring.
Yeah, it's in a thread somewhere.
All right. You'll have to repeat it once a week so that people are really provoked and thinking, because I think this is the future. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Jin. Super exciting. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for opening up your location to us.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Jin.
Cheers.